Hi, it's Sandy Parker, and welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. We're going to do a technique today where we're going to make a tie-dye look with a stencil that has the appearance of tie-dye, as well as some texture paste. And I'm using these Chalkola markers to color my texture paste. I was sent these markers by the Chalkola makers. They wanted to find out if someone who had any kind of issues with their hands would be able to use them, and so I've been playing with them. Here's what I'll tell you so far. They sent me this little set of metallic, and they are just luscious. They're so they color so beautifully, and they're so easy to play with, and the metallic in them is lovely. They came inside this set of 16 of they're 10 chalk pens, which are a smaller size nib, and then they sent me this set of the big nibs. Now here's what I will tell you about the bigger sets. This size and the bigger size, you have to prepare the nib by shaking them. Hear that ball? And then you have to shake them, I think it said for 30 seconds. I'll see if any of these haven't been set up yet. Maybe these ones haven't. Okay, you see how they're white? So the tip on them is white until you shake them, and then after you shake them for a while, you have to push down on a paper to get the ink flowing. That's not a big deal for most people, but when it came to the big size, this size, I really struggled with that and had to have Rich help me, because when you shook these for a long time and then pushed on the nib, it just got a little bit overwhelming for me. So that is what I found so far about them. These are supposed to be used on glass, on the dry erase boards, and you can use them on paper. I decided I would play with them with my texture paste because I thought the colors were absolutely perfect for making a tie-dye look, and it worked really well. So what I decided I was going to do is I thought, why not make a tie-dyed t-shirt? So I came up with this diagram. I drew that myself because, you know, I am an exceptional artist, as you can tell. I'm moving my screen over for you so you can see it better. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, this is a 5.5 inch square piece of cardstock, and what I'm going to do is use a pencil and just draw my t-shirt, for lack of a better word, onto it, because I'm going to cut it out so that we end up with what looks like a t-shirt. And I'm going to do the neck and just kind of draw the back of the neck in, because we need to make sure if it doesn't come out right the first time, like if my shoulders aren't right, that's why I'm using this pencil. I'm trying to make the whole card basically a t-shirt. So I don't know if you can see what I'm drawing yet. It doesn't matter if you can see it yet, because you know we're in the phase where we're just playing with how we're drawing this out. And then I'm going to do the body, like right here. Maybe that body needs to be bigger, because I think in order to get I think I need to make the body that big. And then we'll do like a rib neck right there, and then a little bit more back there. We'll put some more stuff. We need to make our sleeves a little bit longer. Okay, so here's my plan. I'm going to get my eraser and erase out the things that will confuse you. I'm going to erase some of these lines so it's not so confusing, and then I'm going to make the other lines a little bit darker so you can see what I do plan on doing. Okay, so I plan on my t-shirt being, I'm going to make it dark so you can see it. I don't want it to be so light that you can't. And then I'm going to make my sleeves on an angle, because t-shirt sleeves do go on an angle. And then I've, in the ones I was looking at, the shoulders are kind of sloped, and then the neck has the ribbing on one layer. Can you see that? that's what we're shooting for. And so at this point, in order to make my shirt, all I need to do is make sure my arms are the same length. Didn't look like that was the same length. And I think that looks pretty decent. What do you think? You on board with that? I mean, obviously I need to pull that down a little bit. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take our scissors and we're just going to cut this image out, holding on to the, we're going to cut it from the top because we want to hold on to the card to make sure it stays together. I'm doing it now because if I waited until after I did my texture paste, we would end up with texture paste everywhere on a shirt that is not as big as, you know, it's not as big as the texture paste is. So we have to make sure when we do this that you cut it out first, because we're gonna draw in some of the lines and we're gonna make some of it so that you can see it better. But I wanted to make sure that we cut out our shirt first and then texture paste. If that made no sense, I don't know if I can cut and talk at the same time. Could be a problem. Okay, let me see if I can get this shoulder cut out like the other one. Okay, then I'm going to leave the neck of it as is. I'm leaving everything as is, except I'm going to erase all of our marks because we don't need those. I'm going to leave, I might leave the neck information there, like the drawing, because we can always play with that later. But now at least we know exactly where we're going to do our texture paste. So now I'm going to get my texture paste and mix it up, and we'll be ready to roll. I'm going to be putting this, to start with, I'm putting it on this orange background just so you can see the shirt through the stencil. And I want the stencil bottom to go all the way to the bottom of the shirt as far as the pattern. I want the pattern on the shirt the whole way. So I'm going to tape that down, and I'm going to, hold on, I'm going to tape it, and then I'm going to flip it under my card and make it so that my card and the pattern are all kind of taped together like that. Follow that? That's the back of the card is taped to it now. And then I'm going to tape the top so that from the neckline, I don't want anything on the neck to have any of the pattern on it. So I want to make sure that wherever my pattern starts for my neck, I'm going to put a mark, or I'm going to put tape, because I don't want to have any of my neckline covered with the texture paste. That's not the goal. You just don't want that. And I did decide that I would use the texture paste on the rest of my shirt, like the arms, everything. I'm going to allow to have the image on it. And then I'm taking it off that because that's my sheet I'm going to be doing my blending on with my texture paste and my markers. And then I'm just going to tape this down. Now we're cooking, I think. Alright, I'm going to mix a little bit of our texture paste up. In the very center, I'm going to go across the very center just a teeny tiny bit with white. Just the very center is going to be white. Not much, just that little bit. Because I don't want my whole shirt to be white, and if I have a little bit of white in the center, I'm okay. Now I'm going to do a little bit of mixing. I don't think I want that much either. My first color is going to be yellow. And so you take your yellow marker. My markers are already primed. I'm just going to pounce it around my texture paste so that I'm able to stir it together with my marker. And this worked really good when I did it the other day. I couldn't believe how easily this colored with that marker. It just I mean, you see, it's just almost instant that it goes from white to nice and yellow. And my fingers are also going from white to nice and yellow. I got a little spot there where my yellow didn't blend in. Now, I do better if I have it on the bottom of my knife. I don't know how other people do it, but I'm just telling you that just so you know. It doesn't make a difference, but I wanted to make sure I told you that. And then I like to start with just a little area and then move out from there, because we don't have that much material to cover. You know, as far as the shirt goes, we don't want to have a ton of yellow because we're not going to end up with any other color because we don't have a huge pattern. Follow that? So we only want to do, you know, a little bit yellow and then move on to our next color, which is our orange. And I'm going to do just this section. It'll probably end up covering over my white. That's what happened the last time. My white ended up being yellow. Okay, then we'll get rid of the excess yellow. Actually, I'm going to keep that, and I'm going to move this out of the way again. I think I'm just going to put a little bit of orange and see what that does to the yellow. And that way I don't have to waste all this if I can avoid it. Woo! It's my plan anyway. I don't like to waste. I love this stuff. I don't want to waste it because it's fun stuff. And I like it when the color starts out a nicer, deeper color. I like it that way because I want this to look like the 70s, and the 70s was not about pale orange. It was all about crazy orange. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to put it on the back of my knife. And then if we have any left over, we'll use it on our red. Okay, we're going to start right in here. And I'm also going to remember that you can go over your yellow a little bit because the yellow can blend with the orange and end up with, you know, it makes the change of the colors, the movement from one color to the next, it makes it more natural when they're kind of blending more. And then I'm going to do a little bit more toward the bottom, and then if I can go all the way around and just get a little bit all the way around, I think I'm doing okay. That's off the shirt. I don't even know what I'm doing over there. Leave that alone. Okay. But I want to do my red. I want to be a vivid red. When I did this the other day, I ended up with pink, and I did not like that because I wasn't shooting for pink. I was shooting for red. So today, you can see I've got a plan. I'm going to have red paste or dye trying. We're all in it together. Going for red. See, the red is a pinky red, but I don't want a pink. I want a red. So that's why I have so much red ink on my in here, because I want red. It's pretty red, don't you think? I think. If it's not, it's the best I can do, I guess. Okay, now this time we're only going to do a little bit around the bottom with the red because the shirt we're kind of out of room, and then I'm going to go to this edge, and then I'm going to go up the arms, and hopefully we'll have enough to do both arms. If you've ever done tie-dye, and I haven't, but I owned a lot of tie-dye clothes in the 70s, because, you know, that was just the way it was. Because you made them yourself and you kind of rolled them up in a ball and made your design, you didn't always get a perfect patterns. I just want to make sure that when we do this, that we end up having the colors we want where we want them. And I think I'm going to have to go over that yellow. I think I'm just going to marker over that. You did not see this. Look away. And we'll make it yellow. By gosh, I got rid of the white though. Oh well, that's all right. So even though I have that marker ink right there, I don't care about that. I'm going to take my backing off. You want to wash everything right away. I mean everything. Your spatula, because not only will you end up with texture paste on everything, but it just is not easy to get off once it's dry. That texture paste is a little bit rough to get off. Okay, so I'm going to take the tape off of, this is all on the stencil first. I'm just going to take that off first, and then my card should just fall off like that. And it looks pretty good. I'm going to try and get that off the back, no problem. Okay, so here's our t-shirt, and I like it. I have a little bit of texture paste up in the neckline of the shirt, but I think I can just adjust my neckline. What do you think? It's pretty fun, huh? I probably should have drawn my black line in for my sleeves, but I didn't do that. Well, we'll fix that once everything dries. But right now all we care about is just letting our texture paste dry, and once our texture paste is dried, then I'll draw in our lines and maybe cut this bottom edge off, or maybe do something differently with the bottom, but I think it looks good. I'm happy with it. So on to the next stage. Okay, so here's where we stand now that I pulled off the stencil. I should have probably drawn in the arm lines before, but I didn't, and now I've got this neckline that's kind of drawn in that I might have to work around, but I'm not worried about it. I'm sure we can figure out how to make this work, and if we can't, it's just paper. I can always just go on to plan B, but right now it opens perfectly like a card, and it's in good shape. It looks like a tie-dyed shirt to me, and I think once the texture paste dries, we'll be in good shape. So what I decided I was going to do is I need to make a neckline in my shirt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this 2 1/4 inch hole punch. It's a circle punch, and I've drawn lines on my shirt so that I will still have about 3/4 of an inch on either side to be able to hold the shirt when it folds. And what I'm going to do, I made the marks so that I know when I push this up in here that I have to line those marks up so I don't go any further past those, and I want it to make sure that it's straight on either side and across. So I want to make sure that looks right. It looks straight to me. Wish me luck. So I've got the neckline cut out. You might not be able to see it very well, and it still has enough backing to hold it. I'm not sure. I mean, it's not like it's going to last a lifetime, but it's going to last long enough that they'll be able to use it. Then I decided, instead of drawing the sleeves in, I thought what I would do is kind of cut. I'm trying to cut straight. I didn't cut straight right there, but I'm trying to cut enough that we can kind of make it look like a sleeve, like that. I'm going to go the same on this side. Pull that out. Okay. I'm digging it. I've been looking at all my stamps to try and find something that makes the top part of it look more like a ribbed t-shirt. So then I started thinking about, well, what about if I used ribbon instead of, I'm just trying to think of ideas that will make the top of my t-shirt more look t-shirty. Alright, so I came up with a plan. I took some twine that's red and white striped, and I thought what I would do, I made it into a sticker by running it through my little Xyron. You can get those at any kind of craft store. They're not that expensive, and with you use a coupon, I think you can get them for under $10, and they're great for doing things like this where it's hard to get the paper or the item that you're trying to make into a sticker work. It works really well for things like that. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel a little bit of this at a time off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the sticky part of my ribbon, and I'm sorry if my hands are going to be in the way for this part of it, but I wanted to make it look like, you know how shirts sometimes have that kind of neck to them where they have the, and then I thought I would do a second layer like it's ribbed. You know how the neck of a shirt, okay, look how I did this. Didn't I do a great job? These are the things I'm so proud of, my skill set and sticky stuff. Anyway, you know how when you get a t-shirt it's got that ribbed neck? Well, I want to have a ribbed neck. I don't want my shirt to not look like a real shirt, so I think what I'm going to do is, oh, you know what I should do? I should hang my sentiment from this. Hold on, there's an idea. Let's get ready to rumble and get that sentiment going. Okay, I think I'm going to use this Hey There. No. Ooh, this is so hard to decide because I just don't know. The Hey There is really fun, and I could just cut that little Hey There out of there. Let's go with that. I have some white paper here. Would it be more fun if I put it on a different color paper? Let's go with orange. Should have put this in the other way because I'm left-handed, but I can do it both ways, so it's not that big a deal. I've got a Stampin' Up! Journaling marker that has a little thin tip on it. This ought to make it so that I can do this a little bit easier. Hopefully. Hey, that looks pretty good. Impressed by that? Yay! Let's have a big party for that. That doesn't look bad. Okay, let me cut this out. I don't think you need to watch me cut because I think we all are on board with how to do that. So I made the Hey There and I backed it on another Hey There so that if it flips over you'll still get it. And I cut this little bit of string and we're going to loop it over. See how there's a loop there? And you're going to push it through the back, and I'm going to take my pokey tool and push it through so that you have your loop. Well, I guess I'll pull it through so that my loop plays along with me, as it does not want to right now. Okay. Then, I probably cut this too short because that's, you know, I'm inclined to do that. Then you're going to open up your loop again and you're going to push your two ends through. Use my pokey again for this because twine sometimes wants to come apart on you. You know, the two twisted pieces want to not play together. So I've done that. Now we've got something to adhere to our to our other string once we get our other string up there. So I'm going to do around the neck. I'm going to tie this thing on. Let me tie that on and I'll come back because you know that'll take me forever. So I decided I was going to run some beads of the trim around the bottom and around the sleeves, and what I'm doing is I'm doubling over my twine, cutting it in half, pulling it as taut as I can, and I have the glue already, the wet glue already on the sleeve, and then I'm just laying my twine into it and letting it set up before I snip off the edges. But I think it really gave it more of a finished look. I'm adding a little bit more glue onto the twine on top of it because otherwise sometimes twine will pull apart on itself, and I don't like that. So this makes it so that your twine stays twined. There you go. I already have the glue over here. I don't know if you can see that or not. And I'll just show you how simple this is. You just take, this is too much, but you just take a piece of twine like that. You're going to double it over, snip the edge, hold it tight. I'm turning it a little bit so that you can see it better. You're going to hold it tight so that the two pieces are side by side, and then you're just going to lay it in the glue. It's a very easy way to handle twine, and I look for the easiest way to do anything. But I think it makes the shirt look a lot more finished. At least I think the neck and the bottom do. Let me trim off this sleeve so you can see what it looks like once you get the trim. I think our shirt is looking more and more like a shirt. I don't know about you guys, but I'm happier with it. I am going to trim off this bottom, I think. I think it's a little bit too long. But now we can put our sentiment in the inside. And the sentiment I chose is... oh, I forgot to tell you. That sentiment that I gave you was from Stampin' Up. It's called Just Saying. Say in. Just say in. And the other stamp set I'm going to be using is a big one from Cloud9 Designs, and it said, it's good to play and you must keep in practice, from Jerry Seinfeld. I thought that was cute. Back into our stamping tool. This time I'm only gonna, woo! Magnets on top of each other. What else is new? If I didn't have magnets attached to each other, I don't think I'd have videos. Ugh. There we go. Come on, buddy. Let go of your friend. Put that there, and that there. And I'll put that up higher. That looks good. We'll use I could use one of the colors inks. I could use like a red, or let's go with a red. Why not? I got it right here. It's not like I can't just whip out some real red ink right now. It's right here. Real Red by Stampin' Up. And it is really red. If you like a really good red, this is it. It's nice, clean red. Let me get rid of that because I don't want that on my card. And you just never know because my card's got a little bit of a bend in it. And you know, I like to stamp my sentiment at least a couple times because I like it to have a really nice, strong look to it. The stamping on this, I have to say, the stamping on this is so much easier for me because I can push my fingers into it a lot easier than I could the Misty. We're looking at the end zone for this crazy card. So let's decide, do we need to do anything else to the card? Yeah, I want to trim off that very bottom little edge. I don't like this. I think it just doesn't look as clean as I want it to. So let me just take my scissors, and I'm just going to cut right next to the twine. This is a 110-pound cardstock. So if you saw me struggling before cutting it, that's why, because I'm cutting through 2 layers of 110-pound cardstock. So it's not as simple as other cuts are. Let's get our stamp for the back and our envelope, and this baby is done. So we'll stamp the back of our card with "I made this for you," and then our card is done. I think it's fun and frisky, and then I'm going to go around our envelope with some kind of geometric looking red washi tape. You gotta love that. That looks nice. You got to use your washi tape. If you don't, your washi tape will get old, and it sometimes it shreds, sometimes the stick goes, sometimes it sticks to itself. I think I'm going to put a little bit up here as well. Make it a little bit even more fun. Just put a little line right through the center of our flap. But anyway, when you use washi tapes, if you're hoarding them, you're not doing yourself any favors, because you're just going to end up having washi tape that's ineffective. I wonder if I should run a little bit of this down here. I think I should. Why not, right? It's right along the bottom here. Then it matches. Everything matches. Oh, I might do the sleeves as well, now that I'm really getting into it. Because it does kind of go with our funky 70s look. Get that out of there. And it also will cover all of my little boo-boos, like, like on the sleeve where I have a little bit of problem with the texture paste hanging in there on the second layer where I didn't really want it. There's that. Let's see if I can figure out where that sleeve even is. There it is. Tape off. Ha! It's fun. I'm loving it. You loving it? All in favor. I mean, obviously this isn't the elegant card that you're going to send to, your grandmother, but it's a card you'd send to a teenager, or somebody that you're just thinking of that's got this zest for life. I think it's cuter than anything. I think I might send it to one of my nieces, great nieces. I think they'd get a kick out of it. Okay, so here's our front of our card. Hopefully you can see this really good. Yeah, there's your front. Here's our inside. So cute. There's our back. I made this for you. Got a little boo-boo on it. I know I can't blame that on the post office. Darn it. And then here's our envelope. I really hope you enjoyed this. It was fun. It all started out with the texture paste and that Chalkola markers. They were a lot of fun to play with. I hope you enjoyed this. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.